Hello, guys. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the Game Week 17 deadline stream. So, Merry Christmas to all of you guys who have come early. Just to kind of put it out there, I am actually a little bit under the weather, feeling a little bit sick, but hopefully, we'll be able to pull through for today. But nonetheless, I hope all of you guys are having a good start to the Christmas or the festive season. Thank you all for coming early. Stan, Toby as well, member in the chat. Stan also a very long member already. Bourbon Legend FX, greetings from Rhode Island, USA. Great channel, keep up the hard work. It's 2:30 a.m. Thank you for tuning in. And Tanvin as well, Merry Christmas. Also, why is your stream always so early? But that's what we do on this channel. We stream very early. We get all of your questions in, and closer to the deadline. I continue to update you guys on the socials, right? So the early streams, or this channel is known for the early streams, I guess, right? So before we get started, just give me a moment. All right, so before we get started, thanks, Toby. Yeah, I'm drinking a lot more water now, so hopefully we'll be recovered for the festive period. GV, nice to see you as well. Merry Christmas. So before we get started, let me just go through my team. Not much development since yesterday's video, which I recorded on Thursday night. And as of recording, we still don't know if, as of today, we still don't know if Cunha is banned or not. So basically, I think for now, because it's so late already, meaning I guess in terms of the FA updating Wolves, right? So I honestly don't think that Cunha will be banned for this Leicester game. So because of that, I think he's going to play against Leicester, and Leicester is a great fixture, to be honest, right now. They're leaking so many goals. And just as well, Wolves are having a new manager. So I'm excited to have a piece of that pie. So Cunha, Leicester away, he's probably going to stay in my team. And then I guess in terms of the other transfers that I've made, I've brought in Ahmad for Semenyo and also sold Aina for Anthony Robinson. So there we go with the transfers that I have. I think I made those transfers quite early, and I was expecting to kind of do Cunha to Isak if Cunha was banned. But now that he's not, I think I'm happy enough to just take this Cunha fixture and we'll see what happens. Like, I have enough money in the bank to go Cunha to Isak still. So we'll see over the course of the next few weeks whether I want to buy, or next few days, because the next deadline is actually on Boxing Day. So it's coming very soon. So we'll see how Isak does in game week 17 and then decide again whether I want to bring him in. So that's pretty much my team so far. Crew Ploppy, Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas to you. Stan, all good. Odin, good morning to you as well. Haida, Merry Christmas. Will Jesus be a huge punt for double-digit haul? He played beautifully in the AFL Cup. Yes, he's got a hat-trick. He's got a hat-trick in that game. But I don't think it's just is worth it to kind of, go there. I think as of now, in terms of Arsenal attackers also, I don't think it's a time to buy them because they're not exactly scoring so many goals. But Saka is just a player you back to deliver, week in, week out. So I think I'm still alright if people, feel like they want to transfer Saka in. But I doubt that's going to be the case. Crystal Palace away, Ipswich at home. Like, honestly, now I can only kind of defend the Saka pick. If you're going for Havertz or Jesus, I don't think it's where I'll go. Still no news if Cunha will get suspended. Yep, no news at this point. Actually, Stan, I apologize. I missed your question early on. So may I ask, would you bench Timber, Hall, or Colwell, or play all of them and bench João Pedro? I think I'll bench Colwell and I would start Hall, Timber, and João Pedro. That's pretty much what I would do. Would you consider bringing in Chris Wood? I don't mind Chris Wood as a pick. I'll put it out there. Like, if you can't afford Cunha to Isak, I think Cunha to Chris Wood is fine as well. Like, if you feel like you want to sell Cunha, but for now, I don't think that Cunha is gonna miss out. I think he'll be fine. Anish says, "Hey bro, I'm in a huge dilemma. Want to upgrade Cunha for Isak, but can only do that by downgrading Brennan Johnson for someone cheaper. I don't care about the Cunha suspension. I think Wolves are shit. I think if you want to sell Cunha, that's fine. And if Brennan Johnson is your way to do that, I don't think I will bat an eyelid. I think he's been missing out a couple of games already. So I think you sell Brennan Johnson and you go for the cheap midfielders like Ahmad or Enzo Fernandez. And then you very simply just go Cunha up to Isak. Crew Ploppy says, well, it is his birthday. Why not, eh? I've seen these Jesus puns on social media. Thoughts about Vista? Not a player I would transfer in right now, but I think if you have him, he's probably fine to keep. I don't think it's an urgent transfer. Do we need a plan B to get Haaland within the next 2 to 3 game weeks? I think not for the moment. Not for the moment. Like you gotta remember as well, like the price. Like that was the whole reason why a lot of people were transferring him out. Like if you want to bring him back in, chances are you can't kind of stick with the three in midfield anymore, like the Saka Palmer Salah combination. Like you probably have to go maximum 2 of these premiums, and then you go for Haaland up front. But then you miss out on one of those, um, you know, more value options up front. Like currently, Isak is great value for what you're paying for him. I think Jackson is good value as well. Like João Pedro, still at the price point that he's at, good enough. Chris Wood, also very good value. So I don't think, Haaland justifies 15 million, to be honest. And there's so many forward options. I just not think so far for now. In fact, like when I look at my team, I think the main player I need to think about, or the team that I need to think about, is Liverpool. Like I only have one Liverpool asset, and come game week 24, it is very likely, obviously dependent on Champions League results, but it's very certain, very certain, it's very likely that Liverpool is going to get a double game week in game week 24. It's Bournemouth away, Everton away. It's going to look very good, and there will be massive FOMO when that game week comes around that we would want Liverpool players. That also happens to be the game week that the assistant manager chip comes into play. So very exciting stuff. But yeah, I have to start thinking about Liverpool assets. Sorry, a little bit sick at the moment, but skipped your question. Did I skip your question? Oh yes, my bad. Tossing up between Rogers and Smith Rowe for this week. What do you think? Um, well, Smith Rowe hasn't started the last few. It is a bit worrying. But I mean, Rogers has Man City at home. Like I think you just go Smith Rowe. Take a chance that he starts. Do we need a? Yeah, I've answered that. Which is better, Virgil van Dijk or Vardiol and point four in the bank? At this point, Van Dijk. At this point, I go Van Dijk. I got Cunha, Isak, and Hoyland as my forwards. Should I just get Jackson instead of Hoyland? I don't think there's a rush because I think Hoyland is still first choice currently, number 9 for Manchester United, and they have Bournemouth. So I think you stick with him for now. I don't think Everton away is that good of a fixture that you need to sell Hoyland for Jackson. Would you bet playing Rogers over João Pedro? Nah, I would just play João Pedro ahead of Rogers. Stan says exactly as I did. Very, very nice. Omar, do you think Brentford's defensive injuries justify starting Wood? I think whether or not Brentford have injuries or not, you start Chris Wood. Like Brentford's defense, whether or not they have injuries, is just not good. So you start Chris Wood. Loads of people have Enzo, so I'm going Sa from game week 18. That is an interesting move as well. Quite differential. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Smiler Sa has also been starting quite a number of games and also getting quite consistent minutes. Should I take the Kai Havertz punt? I just think Arsenal will be more free flowing with attack now that Odegaard has been back for a while already. He has been back for a while, yet they still kind of struggled against Everton. Raul's also a decent option. Yes, he is. He is. But then with the latest comments that we heard from Marco Silva, it is that um Muniz. I confused it with Munoz from Crystal Palace. So with Marco Silva's recent comments on Muniz, I do think like at some point we could see maybe Muniz starting some games. You know, I think it's possible. Isak or Cunha. I mean, if I'm buying one this week, it has to be Isak, right? But if you're starting, you have to start both. Enzo or Rogers to start. I think it'd be Enzo. I'll keep Hoyland then. I don't need to go into a -4. 8 Newry got suspended. Need to transfer a new defender. I think I'll pick Hoy. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. In fact, defenders wise, I prefer the Fulham defenders. Hamza, nice to see you. Imad says, who should I bench? Jao Pedro, Ahmad, or Iwobi? Wow. You have to start Jao Pedro, right, for the penalties. Comes down to Ahmad or Iwobi, to be honest. But to be fair, Jao Pedro hasn't been tearing it up as well. But I just can't see, benching a penalty taker. So it has to be either one of Ahmad or Iwobi. Iwobi has such a good fixture, though. Very, very tricky. Thanks, Stan. Drinking lots of water. Hopefully it will be better. Ian, nice to see you in the chat. What's for dinner tonight? Probably something festive. There's some dinners, Christmas celebrations tonight. Rogers or Enzo to start? It'll be Enzo. Should I sell Trent for a 4.5 million defender to buy Isak? I don't think you need to do that. If you have Trent, I think it's fine to keep all the way until at least his double in 24. Singapore noodles. My defenders will be Gabriel, Robinson, and Hall. Pretty decent. Yeah, that's good. That's good. 3-4-3 or 3-5-2. It depends on the players. Chewy, nice to see you in the chat. How's it going? On a wildcard 19, I need Ryan 8 new replacement just for the next 2 game weeks. Already own Robinson. If it's the next 2, if you're not already tripled up on Arsenal, I think I would go someone like Timber. If not, maybe Lewis Hall. Maybe. I mean, it's the usual suspects, right? If not Lewis Hall. Arlen says, which Fulham and Palace assets would you be going for out of each team, if any? For Fulham, I think it's either one of Robinson or Timothy Castagna at 4.2 million. And then up front, if you want, you can go Raul Jimenez. And then midfield, possibly Alex Iwobi, but that's more of a differential. And then from Crystal Palace, I think there's Mateta that's quite interesting, but he takes up a forward spot. Munoz is very interesting as well from game week 18, but he's currently suspended, so you'll need to wait until game week 18 to bring him in. And then midfield, there's Ismail Assar or Eze. But Eze is currently injured, so you need to wait a while as well. So, I mean, it's these kind of usual suspects from these teams. No news on the Cunha ban, yeah. No news currently. AC Phantom says, Happy Winter Solstice and Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. Is it worth to transfer 8 Nuri out for a -4 hit? I would say yes. bench one of Mateta, Evan Nielsen, and Strand Larsen. I will be playing a 3-5-2 this week on Mateta early. Very nice. Mateta, Evan Nielsen, and Strand Larsen. I think the Strand Larsen fixture this week is just too good, so you have to start Strand Larsen. If it's between Evan Nielsen and Mateta, Evan Nielsen will have Manchester United, and Crystal Palace will be playing Arsenal. But that one is at home. Maybe I go Mateta for the home fixture, but Arsenal is the better defense still. But I don't really back like Evan Nielsen to do very well against Manchester United. I mean, they are the slightly weaker defense, but it's still at Old Trafford. All right, maybe I lean towards Evan Nielsen. So I'll probably bench Mateta and then start Evan Nielsen and Strand Larsen. Change my mind a little bit there. Thoughts on Dallo? Dallo's interesting. Bournemouth in this game week. Next one is Wolves. I don't mind it. But I go Dallo over someone like Lewis Hall. I still think like numbers wise, like Dallo hasn't been super convincing in terms of attack. Like I know what he's capable of, like we've seen the past few seasons, but it's more kind of the way that he plays this wingback role. I don't think he comes off as super attacking to me. I think I probably still prefer someone like Lewis Hall. Lionel, I see in the chat, any goalkeeper that's worth bringing in. Goalkeeper position right now is just very tricky because none of them honestly can be trusted. I don't think you would go for my keeper, which is Verbruggen. Like Brighton haven't been keeping lots of clean sheets. If I was to go for a keeper this week, I mean, I don't think you would go for players like Leno, even though I do like the Fulham fixtures moving forward. Yeah, it's very tricky. On a wild card, I would have Raya, and I just make that simple decision to go double Arsenal defense with Raya and Gabriel. But if you're bringing in a keeper this week, there's really not many good options. Who would you guys buy if you're going for a keeper? Yeah, I mean, I'm having a look at the options right now, and it's just really not fantastic at all. Like the keeper position is pretty much. I mean, you could go Sanchez, but then there's always that worry, right? There's always that worry if somehow, like he is still number one, so I'm not gonna scam Mongo or anything, but somehow, if he just puts together a couple of bad performances, which I think he's more than capable of, then does he drop down to the bench? So I think it's a possibility. But fixtures wise, I would say that Chelsea's one is pretty good. Onana, would you buy Onana for that price? 5.2 million? Probably not. See, Flecken over Bruggen. Pickford. Would you buy Pickford? I mean, the fixtures are pretty bad. Chelsea and Man City. I wouldn't buy Pickford this week, but I think fixtures-wise, you would still go for someone with a longer run of good fixtures, and that happens to be currently Chelsea or Brighton. The only issue is that Brighton just have not been keeping lots of clean sheets, and for Chelsea, I will always have that worry if Sanchez doesn't play well that he'll be dropped down to the bench. Yeah, that's pretty much thoughts on keepers. But honestly, like, which keeper has been scoring loads of points over the past few game weeks? Like, not many. So I wouldn't kind of spend too long thinking about keeper transfers. Like, even if you have, I don't know, Henderson playing Crystal Palace, playing Arsenal at home, I still just start Henderson and just focus your transfers elsewhere. Vardiol still worth the attacking threat? I would say yes. I would say he is. I don't think Vario is a player that I would sell basically. Like now if I have him, I'm okay to kind of keep him. But what I will say is that Ruben Diaz is injured for a while now. So maybe what we could see is Variol playing center back instead of left back, and that would not be ideal because at left back that is where he advances more. So we'll get more information on Variol in this Aston Villa game in game week 17. But if what we kind of estimate is correct, that Variol is going to play center back, then that is really not ideal. So that is going to hurt the attacking threat. Thoughts on doubling up on Fulham defense? Already moved 8 new to Robinson earlier in the week, tempted by Castagna. Now I don't think you need to double up on them. I think what would be potentially better is waiting until game week 18 to make that other transfer and you go Munoz instead. Imagine if you have Robinson and Munoz. Insane. Do you think Isak is a good differential captain this week? I may be having a little bit of a different opinion from many people. Maybe because I don't have Isak, but I actually think, I could be wrong, but I actually think that this Ipswich away fixture is a little bit deceiving. Like Ipswich defensively are not that bad. Like I know they're definitely not one of the strongest defense in the league, but I don't think they are as bad at home. So I don't imagine that there's going to be a game that Newcastle smash Ipswich. I just think it's going to be a harder game than we think it's going to be. So that's pretty much why I don't think I would captain Isak. But let me know what you guys think. Like, do you think Isak is going to do very, very well? For this week specifically, that he's worth a captaincy shot. Diogo Jota worth it yet? Not for now. Not for now. Until we see a couple more consistent starts from him. I think I would buy Pickford, Flecken, Verbruggen, Sanchez. I mean, not great options, right? To be honest, like Sanchez, honestly, the only one I would go for there. Good morning, vegan. Nice to see you. Would you start João Pedro or Ahmad? I would have to start the penalty taker, so I would go João Pedro. Alisson Becker is interesting. But would you just spend a little bit more and go for someone like Van Dijk? Alisson's at 5.4. I don't know. Maybe you could even just go to Konate if you want to cover the Liverpool defense, which I am thinking about. Like maybe I could cover the Liverpool defense with Konate when he comes back. Like game week 24 is when they would have the double. But that's quite a couple of game weeks away. And by then, it's like February already. Maybe Konate is back, and then I could go for Konate then. And that's pretty much why I don't have concrete plans on buying Trent. I don't have any concrete plans. I received a couple of DMs asking me like, what's my plan, like to get Trent Alexander-Arnold. Like I'm honestly not fussed about not having Trent. Could be famous last words, but firstly, I don't have the, I guess, transfers to get there. I'm only at a place where currently I've used my 2 free transfers, so I'm not rolling any transfers. Next week I will only have 1, and then also no funds in the bank to. I mean, I have 2.4 million in the bank, but that's really reserved for doing Cunha up to Isak. So I really don't think that I'm too fussed about getting Trent in my team. So we'll see what happens with Liverpool. All good, GV. Stan says, just join your mini league. I would buy a stable long options for keeper. Liverpool, Arsenal. I have Brighton already and not lucky. I mean, I mentioned this on the team selection video that I always had a plan to rotate between Flecken and Verbruggen since the game week 6 wildcard that I went for, but that has just gone miserably badly because I haven't had any clean sheets from Verbruggen. All good. Lionel, Matt says just joined. I see Cunha. Yes, you see Cunha. Oh, by the way, let me just have a look on Twitter as well, just to make sure that, or X, shouldn't say Twitter. Have a look on X to see if there's any news. But for now, I think it's too late, to be honest. Like, to just suspend Cunha. They can wait one more week. Yeah, I mean, no news yet. And I honestly don't think we would get any news. It's just gonna be radio silence, and then I'm just gonna play Cunha. Hopefully he starts. You guys should have let us score yesterday. I bought Kirkes last minute. Then I looked at a set of fixtures and I don't know why I got him now. Like, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. I mean, I've transferred out Bournemouth players, but it's not too bad. Like, Bournemouth's fixtures. Okay, don't ignore the Manchester United one. There's Crystal Palace, there's Fulham, there's Everton in the next three. After that, it starts to get pretty bad. Like, I think it's anyone's game. Like, this game week 18 to 20 period. It's pretty much anyone's game. Like those are teams that you could very well see Bournemouth kind of doing well, especially at home. Like, at home they are very strong. Crystal Palace at home, Everton at home. Those are good fixtures. And Kirk is obviously not only relying on clean sheets. Currently starting Bumo Jackson and João Pedro with Rodgers on the bench. Should I start Rodgers ahead of one of those three? No. Yeah, those three are fine. Chewy says, would ideally need to prioritize game week 18 fixture as I would have a back three of Gabriel, Davies, and Robinson. Oh, I see. Is Villa at home for Hall enough to justify the move? I think I would view it as a block of two still. Like, even if you need to prioritize the 18th fixture, like, I would still view it as a block of two. Do you think Darlow with Bournemouth at home and Wolves in 18 is better than Lewis Hall, who has Ipswich now, and then Aston Villa in at home in game week 18? Like, as a block of two, I think I would gamble on Hall's upside. Colwell or Hall, who to start? I would start Lewis Hall. By the way, if you guys are just joining the stream and you're seeing that I keep wiping my nose, it's basically I'm a little bit sick, so a little bit under the weather, not ideal, but it is what it is. The show has to go on. And he says, facts, bro. I've seen most of the number one transfer play against Ipswich mostly blank. I mean, I just don't like. I could be wrong. Like, I think obviously not having Isak makes it a little bit easier for me to say this, but I just don't think it's as easy. Thoughts on Virgil van Dijk over Trent? I mean, there's not really a lot in terms of price point. Like, I think 0.5. For me right now is mainly a question of whether I think the attacking threat of Trent is justifying that price tag. Like, I feel like at this point we're still kind of pinning Trent to what we saw last season or the seasons before. But actually, this season, I just feel he's not as attacking as the last few seasons. Like, under slot, he's just adopting a slightly different role. Like, obviously, he has the usual kind of set piece threat, right? He takes most of the set pieces. He takes one side of the corners. I think the in swinging ones on the right. Sorry, on the left. So, I mean, he will have routes to points, but I just think overall, like, does it justify like 6.8 million, 6.9 million? Or you save a bit of money and then you go Virgil van Dijk. You get same kind of clean sheet odds, but also there is some threat from set pieces when it comes to um, Van Dijk. So I think I honestly between both of them, I think if money is not an issue, you would just go with Trent, right? But if you have to go for Van Dijk because of money issues, I just don't think it's that much of a downgrade as well. Ramadian says, "Hi Leon, how are you? I am good or as good as can be. Hopefully you will be better. Could be better. For this game week, which one should come first? Getting Robinson and Castagna or getting Timbers as Gabriel to double up on Arsenal defense? Um, to be honest, I think I would prioritize getting either one of Robinson or Castagna. Yeah, I think I would. Because the fixture this week is just too good. But I think it really depends as well. Like, do you have rotation? Because for Robinson or Castagna, I mean, it's the same. They have the same fixtures. You have to bear in mind the game week 18 Chelsea fixture. This is not a game that I think you will want to start your Fulham defender. So that's kind of the main reason why I have Rico Lewis here, because in game week 18 he will have Everton. I kind of planned this rotation out already. So it depends firstly on your rotation. The difference obviously is that if you buy someone like Timber or Gabriel, I don't think there's ever a week that you're going to be worried that you have to start them. So like Crystal Palace away in 17, Ipswich at home in game week 18, like good fixtures. So it's, I guess, again, team dependent. K7, good morning to you. King of deadline day streams. Probably not the king, but always early, I guess. Like, I love coming early and chatting with you guys. By the way, for those of you who just tuned in, Merry Christmas to all of you guys. I hope you are having a very good festive period. Christmas is coming in a couple of days, so if you celebrate, I wish you and your families all a very Merry Christmas. Big fan of your work, always offering top insight advice. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Bumo and Lewis or Trent and Enzo. Just about Trent and Enzo. Bench, Wissa, or Ahmad. Oof. Well, these are starting to get tricky. Bench, Wissa, or Ahmad. I mean, Ahmad is in such hot form right now. Just about bench Ahmad. Just about. Could be wrong. Could be wrong. Start Wood or Ahmad. Like, this one is Wood. This one is pretty clear. It's Wood. Like, mostly because of penalties as well. Mullins, good morning to you. Play 2 from Hall, Cunha, Mitoma, or João Pedro. I would start Cunha. Like, I would start Cunha. And then you would have to start João Pedro as well for the penalties, right? Start Van Dijk or Colwell. Very tricky, but I think just about Van Dijk. Thoughts on Solanke to Raul to free up money or just roll? I mean, Solanke has the Liverpool fixture now. If it's for free, I think I would do it. If it's for free, I would do Solanke to Raul Jimenez. Love to hear your score predictions for this weekend. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Score predictions. I say, all right, like, let me know what you guys think as well, like, as we're going along. But I say let Man City probably edge this a little bit. Like, it's not going to be clear, but maybe like a 2-1 win. Brentford versus Nottingham Forest. I'm gonna back Brentford at the G-Tech Stadium. Ipswich and Newcastle. I still think Newcastle will win, but it's not gonna be a landslide. West Ham versus Brighton. I hope Brighton does well. Like, to be honest, like I have João Pedro. He's been blanking every other game. Crystal Palace, Arsenal, have to back Arsenal there. Everton and Chelsea, like Everton are defending very well, so I wouldn't be surprised like at a 0-0 or a 1-0 for Chelsea. As a Chelsea fan, a little bit of bias there. Fulham versus Southampton, have to go with Fulham, probably a 2 or 3-0. Leicester and Wolves, I have to back the man Cunha, so I'm hoping Wolves do the job, but it's not going to be a 0-0 game. Like there'll be goals in that one, probably like a 3-2, 4-3 kind of a game. Manchester United and Bournemouth. I'm gonna back Manchester United here. Like I wouldn't be surprised with a 2-0. And then Spurs and Liverpool, have to go with Liverpool here. But also, I don't think it's a game that's gonna be cagey at all. I think there's gonna be many goals in that game. So let me know what you guys think. You guys agree, disagree? Sick with fever and still watch your stream. Thank you very much. I'm sure Cunha will score this week because I transferred him out. Peter, nice to see you. Thoughts on the assistant manager chip? I mean, I've said enough about it. Like, the assistant manager chip, what I'll say is that it is the most powerful chip that we have. Like, I'll elaborate more in future videos, but I think it's the most powerful chip out of all the ones that we have currently. Ali Max says, have you ever been this high in rank before at Christmas before? I have been at this kind of rank before, or even like slightly better in one of the seasons that I did quite well. But honestly, like there's such a long way to go. Like there's such a long way to go. And the aim, to be honest, was by the turn of the year to be in the top 100k, so that for the next half of the season we can kind of, try and aim towards the top 10k. So yeah, I think I have been there before, but it's really about how we do in the second half. Like hopefully we'll keep it up. Is Rogers to Sorry, GV says, how will Manchester United and Spurs defense be as he had little rest and would be tired? I mean, Manchester United didn't exactly play the full first team, right? And Spurs, I think, were playing their ish, a little bit of their first team, but I don't think it'll affect that much, to be honest. Like Spurs will be the later game, and then Manchester United slightly earlier, but Manchester United rotated a little bit more. Maybe that's the reason why, like because Spurs are only playing much later. Rogers to Ahmad, okay for this game week, or should I roll the transfer? I think it's fine. I think Rogers to Ahmad is a fine transfer for this week. Vienda, nice to see you. Anderson or Castagna? I prefer Castagna. Verbruggen or Fabianski decided play each other, but West Ham is at home. I would go for Verbruggen. Thanks, Lost Aussie. Appreciate that. What's happening with Cunha? Potentially facing a ban, potentially, but it's not confirmed yet. So if it's not confirmed, which I don't think by the time we get to the deadline that we'll know for sure, then I think chances are he'll get to play this Leicester game. I brought in Colwell instead of Robinson. No Spurs for me. Fair enough. It will be for Semenyo, one free transfer. I don't mind it, but I would prefer Ahmad. Generally, happy holidays to you as well. Benching headache this week. Should I bench Hall, Castagna, or Timber, or even risk it and play two defenders plus bench João Pedro? I wouldn't bench João Pedro. So, which one would you bench? Hall, Castagna, or Timber? Wow. Who do you transfer Castagna in for? Maybe Aid Nuri. Mm, those are all three very good, very good defenders, though. I can see your dilemma. To be honest, I can see your dilemma. But I wouldn't bench João Pedro. Like I would always side the attacker because clean sheets are harder to predict. Like especially this season, has to be either one of Hall or Castagna. Unfortunately, Brighton's record against the bottom teams is horrendous this season. I tend to agree. To be honest, I tend to agree. But I just can't find it in me to bench João Pedro. Bench one from Vissa, Ahmad, Trent, and Hall. Either one of Vissa or Ahmad. If there's many goals, then maybe I should bench Van Dijk. Depends on your assessment or your prediction of how that game is going to go. By the way, if you guys haven't already, there's about 160 of you guys watching. Please do drop a like on the stream. That would be very much appreciated. Is this your final team? Yes, very likely. I don't think I'll make the Cunha to Isak move this week. I think I would just, start Cunha and then likely gonna captain Salah as well. Who to bench, Hall or Castagna? Like, I just can't find it in me to bench Lewis Hall. Morning, Craig boy. I look nothing like. Yes, please correct the typo. Good week for a cheeky differential punt on captain. Yes, but I think Salah is a good enough captain against Tottenham, to be honest. Hall or Timber as double Arsenal defense. Timber. Brennan Johnson to Iwobi or Ahmad. I have 2 free transfers, benching Rodgers this week. I would go Ahmad. I prefer Ahmad. Isak or Cunha. If you're buying one, it has to be Isak, right? But if you're choosing to start, you have to start both of them. Cunha or Mbumo, thank you in advance. Like start, I would start Cunha. Like I would really start Cunha. Like will Cunha play? My guess is yes. My guess is yes. Don't think I've actually had a flu on stream. Unfortunately, it is the case this time around. Nothing yet on Cunha, by the way. Like I'm just checking Twitter like on and off, just to make sure that we don't miss out on anything. But there's really nothing on Cunha, which I honestly don't think we will get as well. But just to be safe, Obviously, if we get somehow some news that Cunha is not gonna play, then it's a straightforward Cunha to Isak move, and now I've lost out 0.2. Same total points, very nice. How about Jota in for Johnson? Don't think I would go Jota now. Too risky. Raya Fabianski to start. It has to be Raya. 171 watching the stream, 49 likes. Is that the count? Just have a look. Yeah, you're right. Can we get a little bit more likes? If you guys are watching and you haven't liked, please do drop a like on the stream. That really helps the channel. And it's Christmas. It's Christmas. It's completely free. It's the season of giving. Wolves have got some tricky fixtures coming up. Yeah. I mean, that's why Cunha is going to leave the team after this Leicester fixture. That's the hope. That is the hope. Like, I think in terms of future transfers as well, like, I honestly don't think I'll need to do much. Like, I was just tinkering with the team a couple of days ago after I made the Robinson and Ahmad transfer. Right, let me bring you guys over to this screen. So basically what I did this week was Aina out for Robinson and Semenyo out for Ahmad. So I honestly, okay, I have more money in the bank, by the way. Like, this is not including price changes. So come game week 18, plan is to do Isak in. But then once that's done, I don't think I need to make that many transfers. Robinson drops to the bench for this Everton game for Man City. That's pretty much it. So I think the plan for me is actually to save a couple of transfers for the next few game weeks from like 19 onwards. Save my transfers. 20, I'm also able to save the transfers. Leicester for Rogers this week. He can come in for either one of Ahmad or João Pedro. Like Ipswich is a great fixture as well. I could just choose to bench João Pedro against Arsenal if I want to start Robinson as well. 21 fixtures are still good. Ipswich for this is a week where I have to think about whether I want to go double Arsenal defense or not. If not, I could bench Lewis. Southampton for Ahmad looks pretty good as well. Like honestly, who am I gonna start for him? Like, so game weeks, I think 19, 20, and 21. I think they're gonna be roll weeks for me. So maybe in terms of transfer plans, it's gonna be just rolling. But at least for 18 is to bring this to make this Isak move. That is pretty much, I think, transfer plans wise. So that's also one of the main reasons I was locking in the moves early. Like, I knew that going for Ahmad and Robinson just allows me greater rotation moving forward. Do you think Trent is worth the money? Like, as of now, like I honestly don't think I get the hype around Trent. Like, I could be missing something. Like, I could definitely be missing something, but I've seen the sheer number of people going for Trent. I just don't see it. Like, I'm not fussed that I don't have Trent. Famous last words. 8 Nuri for Castagna. Yeah, that move looks good. Which three of these defenders would you start? Gabriel, Timber, Robinson, Hall, Colwell, or would you play 4 defenders and bench Ahmad? I think I would just about bench Levi Colwell and start Ahmad. I wouldn't bench Ahmad for a defender. Hi, Paneet. Nice to see you. Lost Aussie says me either. Yeah, I mean, let's see. Van Dijk or Trent. Like, if you're buying one right now, I would still, and money isn't an issue, then you could still go for Trent. But I would just say that if you're stretched for money and you have to go for Van Dijk instead, it's not that much of a downgrade. Is it worth taking a -4 to bring Ahmad in for Rogers? It depends. If you're gonna take this -4, bring Ahmad in and start him, probably yes. Probably yes. Happy holidays to you, Paul. Thanks for the content this year. Good luck this game week. Good luck to you as well. Appreciate the support. See ya playing so bad. Don't even feel like checking your FPL team. I have Trent, Van Hag, and Gabriel. Would you still bring in a Fulham defender this week? It's a question of whether you're happy enough to play Van Hag against West Ham, which I would think maybe you are. So maybe not a rush to bring in the Fulham defender. Not as much of a rush. Just checking if there's any news whatsoever. Bench one of Ahmad, João Pedro, and Enzo. Probably Enzo. Probably Enzo. I think I mentioned it in the team selection video as well. I think we have to change our perception a little bit on the role that Enzo is playing. Like, some people still think that he's playing as a defensive midfielder, but if you watch the games, he's far from a defensive midfielder. Like, he's at certain point in time or certain points in time, he is pretty much the most advanced like attacker. The average position that he takes up can even compete with the average position of Nicholas Jackson, who's playing as a striker. So, yeah, I just do think like Enzo Fernandez is more playing as maybe an attacking midfielder of sorts, or just a very advanced central midfielder. So, I think I just like Enzo as a pick. It's the main reason I didn't bring him in and I chose to go for Ahmad is I don't think I want to triple up on Chelsea attack. Like, as much as I'm a Chelsea fan, I don't think there's a necessity to go triple Chelsea. Verbruggen or Fabianski? I'll start Verbruggen. Why don't you have Watkins? Why do I need Watkins? Will Cunha play? My guess is he will. Arthur says so scared of keeping Cunha. Yeah, I mean there is fear. Like, I have to say, like, we're taking a gamble here, but chances are he's going to be available because he's not banned yet. Has there been any final word on Cunha? Yeah, not yet. Like, okay, let me pull up one of the tweets that really helped me make my decision. Let me just see if I can find it. Basically, it was a. All right, this is the one. This is the one. Let me show it to you guys. Just give me a moment. Let me just. All right. So let me show you guys what did it for me. So, Mark Jobling from Scout, right? What he did was he assessed how likely it is that Cunha would be banned, whether he would be available for Game Week 17, essentially. So he goes back all the way to similar instances of this event in past seasons, right? So Kudus had until 24th October to respond. Like this was, I think, earlier this season. And then his punishment only came on 6th November. So I think he also goes on to say further down in the tweet, he adds more context for the for the Kudus incident. It was that Kudus admitted to the charge rather than appealing it, and it still took more time for the ban to come in, right? So but the thing is that at that point in time he was also serving the 3 match ban due to the red card, so maybe there was no rush is what Mark was saying. But basically, I just do think, like, you look at the other instances as well, like Gibbs White until 27 September to respond, only received the ban almost a month later. Same for Ben Tunker as well. So after reading this, I felt a little bit more certain. And then, and then, and then other Wolves accounts come up to, kind of say things like this, right? Like, as it stands, he's free to play. Wolves are yet to hear from the FA on any potential ban, and until they do, he is free to play. So I think basically when I add everything together, I just feel like there's enough to convince me that Cunha will play. So that's why I've kept him. Neil says, who would you play out of either João Pedro or Strand Larsen this weekend? I want to play Ahmad and Enzo in midfield with Saka, Palmer, and Salah, but I can't decide who to play up front with Isak. Either João Pedro or Strand Larsen. I think I would go João Pedro because of the penalties. Johnson's best replacement, I'll probably go cheap, go either Ahmad or Enzo Fernandez. Emil says, if you had to choose Cunha or Mbumo, thanks in advance. If I had to choose, both of them are likely on penalties. I mean, Cunha is likely on penalties. I think this is a great game for Cunha. Like, if you think that Cunha is going to start, I actually borderline prefer Cunha. Joel, nice to see you in the chat. Absolute legend. Pedro, Cunha, Bruno, Ahmad have to bench one. You know what? Might have to be Ahmad, Like, Cunha and João Pedro both on penalties. Like, I know I keep saying penalties, but, like, honestly, that plays a part. Like, that plays a part. Pedro or Vardy? João Pedro, probably. Thinking of Cunha captaincy as a differential. That one is going pretty far. That one's going pretty far. Haaland captain. I probably wouldn't go there, but cool if you want to go there. Oh, we should do a captaincy poll, by the way. Panit says Cunha will play. I do hope so. Haaland or Isak to captain? Do you have either one of the premium midfielders? I prefer them. Can you expect early team news on Watkins before the deadline? We do have a couple of Aston Villa leak sources, but I doubt that it's gonna have too much impact. But if you do have Watkins, there are leakers, so you can kind of keep a lookout on Twitter. Would you hold Kevin De Bruyne with City having good fixtures coming up? The only issue I can get only one of Isak or Jackson. I mean, I have my thoughts on Kevin De Bruyne as an FPL option, and I think he's a non-option for now. Simply put, because minutes will be a concern, and City's form at this point also not great. But it's tricky, right? Because if you have him in your team, it also doesn't really justify selling. Emil Smith Rowe or Ahmad or João Pedro. If you're buying one now, I would buy Ahmad. My guess is you're starting. If you're starting, I would start João Pedro and Ahmad. Hope for the Watkins. Yeah, I think we might. There are leakers, but no promises, right? Like, it depends on what information they get. Start Kirkes or Collins. Kirkes. Bruno Fernandes. What about Bruno Fernandes? Enzo, Ahmad, Pedro, and Larson bench one. Merry Christmas to you, Neil. Probably Enzo. Probably bench Enzo. There's 181 of you guys watching. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for spending your weekend here, your Christmas weekend. I mean, it's not Christmas yet, but it's going to be Christmas soon. Appreciate you guys coming down. If you haven't already, please do drop a like. Watkins not traveling with the squad to the Etihad because he's playing at home. I've seen all these tweets on Twitter as well. I mean, thank you very much for dropping a like. Appreciate that. Ashwin. Castagna is worth it. Yeah, I don't mind Castagna. Would you double up on Enzo and Ahmad? I mean, squad structure wise, I don't think I need to do that. Because I'm happy enough with Rogers. Like, the fixtures that he has rotate very nicely with Ahmad. So I'm happy enough with that. Start Raya over Fabianski. Merry Christmas to you, Dream Stealer. I would start Raya over Fabianski, yes. You know, sorry, let me just check if the mic is on. Yeah. You know what would be absolutely savage? If the Cunha ban only comes after the deadline. Like, that would be ridiculous. But it is the course of action that I've decided to start with. So I honestly don't think it'll come so soon. Like, we've seen the stats just now, like, dates wise. Like, I don't think it'll be so soon. If you had to start one, would it be Pedro or Cunha? I'm currently in a predicament. I just think Cunha is gonna start. So I think I prefer Cunha for the fixture. When will City win a match? I think they also want to know the answer to that question. Is Castagna worth it instead of Robinson? If I could reverse the moves, I'd maybe go for the cost saving, and I might have gone for Castagna instead, but I had to move early, so that's pretty much why I have Robinson here. Right, I'm gonna go to the washroom. I'll be back in a bit. All right, so we're back. Apologies for that. Heading to work, do I keep Cunha? If heading to work, I think you just keep Cunha and not check the FPL app for a while. My guess is he'll be fine, to be honest. I think he'll be fine for Game Week 17. Let's do a captaincy poll. Drop in the chat who you guys are captaining or thinking of captaining. I want to know, and we'll put them all in a poll. We'll put them all in a poll. I'm going to assume that it's like one of Salah, Palmer, Saka. But let me know in the chat which ones you guys are going for. Henry says start or bench one. Cunha versus Leicester or Smith Rowe versus Southampton. I will start Cunha. Play one, bench one. Nando's or fish and chips. I do like a good fish and chips, but Nando's is. I think I go Nando's. I play Nando's. Honestly, if you have Haaland, just captain him and pray. Fair enough. Captain Jackson, Isak, top differential captain. Ahmad, probably wouldn't go there, but all right. Let's put in the captaincy poll. Right, game week 17, captaincy poll. I'm gonna put Salah up there. I'm gonna put Palmer second. I'm gonna go Saka / Haaland. And then I'm gonna go other, for those of you who are thinking of Isak Jackson, for example. All right, let me know who you guys are captaining. Where do you live? I live in Singapore. Start Mitoma or Semenyo. Probably Mitoma. Vardiol, Pedro, Robinson, Virgil, and Gabriel start 3. I think I'd actually go Vardiol, Robinson, and Gabriel. I'd probably go there. João Pedro. Pedro Porro for sure I'm benching because he plays Liverpool. It comes down to either one of Vardiol or Van Dijk, but Van Dijk has Spurs and Spurs are doing pretty well. So, I mean, they're not doing pretty well in terms of results, but they are, scoring some goals. Start Madueke or Robertson. I back the attacker, so I go Madueke. Isak captaincy. I mean, I don't imagine there's going to be that many. Like for those of you guys with Isak, I actually be keen to know, like, how many points do you actually expect that he's going to score? Like, is it 1 goal and 1 assist and then, double-digit haul? Is that what you guys predict is going to happen? Start Raul Jimenez or João Pedro. So tricky. I might actually go with Raul Jimenez, to be honest. Like, he's potentially on penalties as well. Your English is so good. Have you lived in an English-speaking country before? Like, Singapore is an English-speaking country. But thank you. Singapore is an English-speaking country. I just think that maybe the accent is not as strong. Like, I mean, to some people, they can still tell. But, like, I just try to pronounce the words clearly. Appreciate that. Benching Ryan Nuri and starting Timber, Hall, Mazraoui. Is that okay to roll or make a transfer on Ryan Nuri? I think that's okay to roll. Mazraoui is a little bit of a doubt, though, I think. Los Aussie says Isak, 2 goals, 1 assist. Craig says goal and assist. Like that is. Let me have a look at Ipswich, in terms of home record. Like, have they really been trounced so badly? Okay, 2 goals conceded against Bournemouth, but you remember for that one they were leading for majority of the game. At home, they lost to Crystal Palace by 1 goal. Lost to Nottingham Forest away from home by 1 goal as well. Drew Manchester United. There's not many games, to be honest, that at home they concede. All right, in game week 1 at home they conceded 2. Game week 3 they conceded 1. Game week 6 conceded 2. Game week 8 conceded 2. Leicester in game week 10 at home conceded 1. Manchester United game week 12 conceded 1. Crystal Palace 14 conceded 1. Bournemouth 15 conceded 2. Like it's not gonna be a very high scoring game. I'm just gonna put it out there. Like, my prediction is that it's not gonna be very high scoring. But if it's 2 goals, for example, then I'm not gonna rule out that Isak could be involved in both, right? Maybe 1 goal and 1 assist. We'll see what happens. I don't have Isak, so hopefully. I might go Jimenez, only the fact that he plays versus Southampton, but I'm scared of Muniz. Yeah, exactly. Like, if you go Jimenez, I think you have to be worried about Muniz at some point. I have no cover from Mazraoui, who is a doubt. Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I think currently the news is that he's a bit of a doubt. So if you don't think that you're comfortable with that, I think you just make a transfer. Like, Ryan Nuri is someone you would transfer out anyways. So if it's for free, just do Ryan Nuri to someone like Robinson or Castagna, and then, go from there. Start Iwobi or João Pedro. Just about João Pedro. You don't speak the last, so yeah. I mean, I could. Maybe I code switch a little bit, but I could. Ipswich have been fairly decent defensively. Yeah, this is what I want to hear. But prediction is still 0-2 to Newcastle. Play 1. Diego Dallo or Lewis Hall. Lewis Hall. Craig says kind of everyone. Yeah, I mean, exactly that, right? You think Pedro will do well this week compared to Rodgers against a weaker City side? I would still play the fixture. I would still go Pedro. Should I sub Ahmad for Cunha? Nah. I think Cunha is going to start, and I would be happy to start Cunha. Sell Vario for Hall and Cunha to Isak. I honestly think not necessary. Like, I think you can go Vario and Cunha this week. Save your transfers. Castagna or Robinson, if budget is an issue, you can go Castagna. But if it's not an issue, I actually temporarily still prefer Robinson. Kirkes or Robinson or Castagna, again, it depends. Like, if your future transfers require funds, then I don't think going Castagna instead of Robinson is that much of a downgrade. I think it's fine. Cunha to Isak for a hit isn't worth it because Cunha could play, yeah. I honestly just think that if Cunha plays, I prefer the Leicester fixture over the Ipswich fixture. Lisa says, I'm on a wild card. Should I change Robinson to Castagna and Hall to Munoz? I have Henderson in goal. If you're on a wild card, take Henderson out of goal. I'll probably go either one of Sanchez or Raya. Likely Raya in goal if I was on a wild card. But should you change Robinson to Castagna and Hall to Munoz? I think I would. I think I would do that. Kirkes or Lewis Hall? Prefer Lewis Hall. Start two from Enzo, João Pedro, and Rogers. Enzo and João Pedro. I bench Rogers. Captain Palmer or Salah? I prefer Salah for now. Looking at the poll as well, it seems like majority also are going Salah. Is Brian Johnson a sell? I think he is. I think he is a sell. I've seen a few teams with Brian Johnson in there. Like selling him for Ahmad or Enzo just unlocks so many other moves. Start Burn or Collins. Burn. For Bruggen over Flecken, yes, that's what I've done. And I think that's what I would advise as well. All good, Lisa. Any plans to move for Isak? Jackson plus Isak up top seems to be the trend. Yeah, Cunha to Isak is the move next week. I just about have enough funds for it. I have 2.1 in the bank. This would mean that I have 8.9 million once I sell Cunha. And Isak is at 8.8. So I can afford either one drop for Cunha or one rise for Isak. So I have a bit more time to think about it. For Bruggen replacements, I think we just stick. I don't think you need to sub a Bruggen. Who scores the most points from now until the end of the season? Ahmad or Enzo? I'm gonna back Ahmad here. You think Saka will keep blanking? Nah, I think sooner rather than later he's gonna return. Like he was very close to an assist as well. Like if Odegaard could have buried the chance that Saka created in game week 16, Saka could be on an assist. Should I play Konza and Lewis or bring in Castagna? I think you bring in Castagna. Should I sell Cunha for Pedro and Gabriel? I think Cunha is fine to keep this week. Do you prefer any Tottenham player? Not at the moment. Samuel says Fabianski or Flecken. For this week, I would start Fabianski over Flecken because Nottingham Forest is not an easy fixture. And then João Pedro or Enzo, I would still go João Pedro. Joel says Verbruggen captain. Hall or Dallo better pick for this game week? I'd say Lewis Hall. I feel like I should take out Ryan Hitner for Castagna instead of Robinson today just because I delayed and price drop and for Ryan Hitner and Rice Robinson. Fair enough. I mean, I don't think it's that much of a downgrade. And I don't think there will be that huge of a swing as well. Would you do Cunha and Bowen to Iwobi and Jackson? I have 5 free transfers. I wouldn't. I would keep Cunha this week. What is your team value? I think at this point, like because I have 2.1 in the bank. I have 2.1 in the bank, but my team value is 102. 102, like on the dot. So 102 plus 2.1 in the bank gives me 104.1. So hopefully, by the time the assistant managed chip comes around, we would be okay to sacrifice like 1.5 if I decide to go for Arne slot, for example. How about Cunha? I think Cunha is probably going to start. I'm not going to say for certain, but there hasn't been a ban for him yet. Michael says Verbruggen's such a fraud. No way I'm playing him over Fabianski. Fair enough. Fair enough. Start Kepa, excuse me. Start Kepa and Kirkes or Pickford and Mikalenko. Actually, in that situation, I would kind of diversify. I would cover both goals. So I'd actually start Pickford and then I would start Kirkes. Mix it up a little bit. But so that if in the event either one of them somehow keeps a clean sheet, you would have a piece of that. Starting Ahmad against Bournemouth, or should I start Rodgers? You definitely shouldn't start Rodgers over Ahmad. And then I think you should diversify your defensive picks. Fabianski or Verbruggen. I would still go for Bruggen over Fabianski. I have Gabriel, Timber, Robinson, and Hall. I've noticed the latter to rotate really well. I think that's a very good defensive line to have for the next few game weeks. To be honest, Cunha, Ben, when we don't really know yet. My guess is it doesn't come in time for game week 17 at least. Score prediction for United. I'm not a United fan, by the way. I'm a Chelsea fan. But I think United probably win this one. Start Konza or Lewis. Probably Lewis. Better to have Trent or Virgil van Dijk. Like between the two, I honestly don't think it's too much of a difference. But if money is not an issue, then I think you would just go Trent. Have you not considered starting Rodgers over Pedro? Honestly, no. Like Rodgers for me has been on the bench for a while. I don't even think I actually put much thought into benching Pedro because he's also on penalties. Like I can't see myself benching Pedro for Rodgers, especially with Rodgers playing Man City. Gusto, Hall, Dallo, please rank in order to start this week. I would go Hall, Dallo, and then Gusto. Is it worth going Cunha to Raul Jimenez next week? Next week they play Chelsea though. I don't think you make that move next week. If you make that move, you'll probably do it this week when he has Southampton, right? Castagna plus Hall rotations, we will be there. Top 3 defenders under 5 million. Robinson. All right, the Fulham ones, I mean, you guys already know, right? Robinson, Anderson, Castagna. I think Munoz next week from Game Week 18 will be very popular. Aside from that, I think Lewis Hall still is fine. But Newcastle's fixtures, bear in mind, they start to get a little bit trickier from a defensive standpoint from Game Week 18 onwards. And then obviously there's the Chelsea fixtures that continue to be very good for quite a period of time. Then you could go for Levi Colwell. Start Salah or Calvert-Lewin. Is that even a joke? I'm not even gonna answer that one. Lost Aussie says, Nando's, Merry Christmas to you. Have a great week as well. Hope Game Week 17 turns out well for you and enjoy your Nando's. Dan the man says, thank you. That is exactly what I'm currently on. Appreciate it. Fair enough. Happy to help. Craig says, I play a different format, Telegraph Fantasy Football. I tune in for your advice. I still have Haaland. Would you get rid of him if he blanks today? I don't really know how Telegraph Fantasy Football works, but if it's anything similar, and if Haaland's also priced at 15 million there, if he blanks today, the fixtures do get good. Would you get rid of him if he blanks today? After the Aston Villa fixture, I think it's Everton, Leicester, and West Ham. I think the fixtures start to get good. So I don't think I would actually get rid of him, like for those fixtures. Is it a bad move to wait for Konate's return to invest in Liverpool defense? It's actually what I'm thinking about. It's actually what I'm thinking of doing. Which is why I haven't had a plan for Trent. Start Diallo or Enzo. Diallo. Start one of Ahmad or Vissa or Rogers. Ahmad. You getting Haaland 18? Nope, probably not. Would you do Lewis to Robinson? Yes, but I think I would try to have a bit of rotation for Robinson because in game week 18 he'll have Chelsea. And the main player that has a good fixture then is actually Rico Lewis. So depends who your other defender is for rotation purposes, who your fourth defender is. When you join a head-to-head league, I configure. I'm in many leagues at the moment. I don't even know if I have like extra space right now. Like there's so many of the random, like prize leagues and stuff, and then there's also um the league that I'm in with some friends. So I think there's a limit as well. Like there's a cap. Andrew says, I'm a Sheffield Wednesday fan. I wouldn't even want Calvert Lewin in our team. Chris says, if you didn't have Jackson, will you change Rogers to Enzo? Potentially, Potentially. That's a good question. Potentially. Ahmad or Enzo? I prefer Ahmad. Happy to help, Craig. Let's hit the 100 likes. Are we on 100 likes? We're six. We're 6 people away from 100 likes. We are 6 players away. So 6 players, 6 likes away. If any of you guys, there is about 154 of you guys. If any 6 of you guys could drop a like, that would be amazing. Cells versus Everton away, or Fabianski versus Brighton at home. Is Cells having Everton away though? Sanchez is having Everton away. Cells is having Brentford away. If it's between the two, I would think that at the GTEC Stadium, Brentford are really good. So I'd actually chance the Fabianski versus Brighton game. Andrew says Timber to Konate will be my plan in a few game weeks. Fair enough. I think when he comes back in January, that is more than enough time for Game Week 24. So the plan for now is to just bank on that. So I don't have any plans for Trent, to be honest. Milankovic, Gomez, Rogers. Which two would you play? Probably Rogers. I mean, I'm backing the attacker over defenders basically. Probably Rogers and Gomez. I mean, I think that Milankovic is going to concede against Brentford basically. Start Flecken or Cells. I want to say Flecken because he's at home. Oh, Chris, thank you very much for that. Marco, good website with scores, predictions, and goals. Or I think 11ify.com is really good. 11ify.com. Check it out. It's really, really good. I use their models in some of my Instagram graphics as well. So check them out. Like really good in terms of clean sheets, score predictions, goal predictions, etc. 3 Arsenal players are Saka, Timber, Raya. Is it a must to upgrade Gabriel to Timber? And if yes, by when? You mean Timber to Gabriel? Yeah, because you have Saka, Timber, and Raya. It seems a bit sideways, but I think I would do it if I have a lot of free transfers. Like if I've amassed quite a number already. I don't think it's an absolute rush. FPL Short says, I agree, I'm a Forest fan. I think we have a chance of getting a result, but I can't see a clean sheet at the GTEC. Yeah, exactly. Start Hall or Caldwell. I prefer Lewis Hall. Start Rogers or Collins from Brentford. I would start Rogers. I just prefer to start attackers over defenders, basically. Thoughts on Saka captain? I think Crystal Palace have been doing decently well from a defensive standpoint. And away from home, I think Saka away from home, there's always that narrative, right? So I probably wouldn't go there. By the way, are you from Singapore? You seem to have that Singapore slang. Yes, I am from Singapore. Been discovered. It's 111 likes. We smashed it, guys. We smashed it. All right. So we're going to call it a day. We've been streaming for about an hour and a half, which is usually how long we stream for. So thank you all for tuning in. I hope I got to all of your questions. For my team, what you see is pretty much what you're going to get. I don't think we are going to get any news on Cunha. So I'm pretty certain I'm going to keep him. And then from game week 18, the move is quite straightforward. It's Cunha to ease up with the money I have in the bank. And then for 19 onwards, potentially up to 21, I could be just rolling, right? Because the team is good enough to take me through the next few game weeks. So that's where I'm at. Captaincy is likely going to be Salah as well. And it differs from the Palmer pick by the captaincy algorithm in my usual team selection videos, but sometimes you just gotta back your gut, right? So I'm likely gonna keep it on Salah, and we'll see what happens. So there we go for Game Week 17. All the best to you guys. I hope you guys get green arrows. For those of you who celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas to all of you guys. I hope you have a great time with your friends and your family. Enjoy the festive period and also the football. And I hope FPL goes well for you as well. If not, the content will still be here. I'll try to get as much videos out as possible during this period. I'll try to kind of get the usual stuff out like transfer plans, transfer tips, and team selection. But if not, I will catch you guys on the Game Week 18 content. It's quite crazy that we're already midway through, but I'll catch you guys there very, very soon. Bye-bye.